Thanks for watching our part 1 of the cottage tour. Now we're going to show you part 2. Enjoy. Now we're going to go behind some doors. We're going to go into hidden areas. And this is how this mudroom, it's the room that we did redo, is kept regularly. So you can see if you have a good mudroom, you actually will keep it tidy. So let me show you this space. Okay, so this has got washer and dryer in here. And this is life at the cottage. Now, I know sometimes it's probably messier when there's more people here, but our homeowners are home. We're just wandering around, and this is how they live. So we added here a bench, and it has all these hooks so that people could just take their stuff off and put it, just hang it up. The challenge with any kind of space that's just a closet, like where you have to go in and put things on a hanger, if people just don't do that. They're in a rush and they just don't want to. I don't know. You'll notice that we did the color green as well to kind of pull into the area that we are, and really worked on the idea of it being casual. So the hanging here, as I said, baskets here. I love that they just lined up their shoes here. We did not touch this. This is how it was. So you can see, like I said, good design, I think, encourages people to behave well. Okay, a couple other things that we have here. Great quartz countertop, lots of storage. Again, a more vintage looking handle, and something you can do yourself. Like if you want to change your hardware and you're trying to get a little bit more of an older aesthetic, look at some of the vintage styles. A vintage style is being able to see our little piece of hardware here. You can see the screw head. And of course, any kind of pull like this is considered vintage. And so we have all sorts of different ones there. It looks really nice. I love the backsplashing here. This is kind of what we're seeing now. We call this picket because it's sort of like a picket fence at the top, but it's gradated. So you can see that there's more color in the tile, which gives it, again, that more hand-done type of feel, which is what we're looking for, a kind of crafted feel, which is also part of that vintage look. We did add our Roman blinds. You'll notice these in the windows because privacy. They don't need privacy necessarily from the road or anything or the lake, but from each other when they're outside, because you will host parties here. But you'll notice there's a little bit of detail on here. Again, this is all about the details. We have a light ceiling in here just because we did some renovation work in here to put in the existing washer and dryer, and we didn't go all crazy and buy new washer and dryers. We kept the old good guys. Some people really do love those top loads, so we definitely kept that and just made it work. And this is what this room is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a room that works, and I feel that it works very well. Well enough that I could leave the door open, but I'm going to close it because it's right off the main entry. All right, now let's have a look at the second floor, which is composed largely of guest rooms, but there's a fun little surprise in the loft, which I'll show you in a minute. But I just wanted to point this out to you. This is just a neat way of breaking up your wood if you feel like you have too much wood and you want to separate, create a little bit more separation. We left our natural wood stairs, wonderful. These were also in wood, but we painted them a deep, deep charcoal gray so that they were part of the aesthetic here. We did not do white because really white is our wall color and we wanted this to drop away. So remember, when you paint something lighter, it gets brighter, you see it more. When you paint something darker, it drops away unless it's in contrast, in which case you will see it more. Not sure if that's more confusing, but bottom line is don't leave your pickets to chance. Think about what you want them to do. Okay, upstairs. Time to go. Beautiful staircase. It's nice and wide. That's what makes it nice to me. And it's an open staircase. For a lot of people, that might be scary, but it's a great way to get light from the outside into the darkest part of the house, which is the center area. Here I am in the loft, and I think this is so warm and, I hate to say this, inviting, because, you know, any space is really inviting when you treat it like this. I mean, look at the ceilings. We have this great detail and architecture is exposed. So essentially the ceiling here, the windows are cut in as dormers into the ceiling, and that gives you a lot of warmth. Again, gives us that bit more of an English cottage feel, or Muskoka cottage as it were here. This I have to show you because this is original. This is what the homeowner had, and we kept them for her because it's so cute. And this is vintage Muskoka. The idea of having a chessboard and a little nook for your chessboard and your wood-shaped chairs. So nice, the details, and then the figurines that walk across the surface in the chessboard. I love stuff like this, and these are the kind of things that we like to keep as much as we can because they have character and style. Let's pop into a bedroom here, and I can show you how you put together colors to make them sing. Okay, ready? I'm going to turn the lights on. All right. So look at the just wonderful styling that the architect and builder did in here. And of course, our homeowner is so smart. She kept all of this. We love this. And that she didn't want to renovate out the character. Love that too. So you see these roof details here. They come down like this shelf detail, the built-in shelves. This was all here, and really great ideas that you should copy if you're looking for something to kind of jazz up your space. But if it seems like sometimes with all the wood, it's just a little too much, the way to handle it is to break it up with color and with your decor. So this room originally was a much deeper color. So what we did was we painted all the walls white, same colors out in the hallway. So we have a little bit more continuation through the house. And then we said, okay, remember our rule here, any guest bedroom, any bedroom, try to do a king. Because when you have guests over or you have any kind of visitor, they'll appreciate that. All the light layering. Now, nothing is pure white. Everything is a mix of whites. So we have a white here, but then we have the charcoal. Then we have an almost white sheeting. And then we have a textured sort of beige gray linen here. And then an almost white quilt. When you layer all of it together, it appears light. The reason I tell you this is to say, don't worry about getting all your colors exact. Select a mixture of textures because then it hides that the colors aren't perfect. And in this case, it doesn't matter because that's what a bed is. It's much more comfortable when you have lots of textures and layer on layer of similar colors. If you have a lot of orangey colored wood or honey oak, some people have at home, one of the ways to break that up as well is using lots of white, charcoal, black, even really, really deep gray, black, brown. That will help that color not feel so heavy. So in this case, we have really large pieces of artwork on a white wall, but they're also in white. So we get the texture of the artwork as opposed to the color. So it remains light and not so heavy. Welcome to just a really wonderful, colorful bathroom, but it doesn't feel colorful, does it? It just has a little bit of color. So instead of putting the color on the walls, which we could have done, and that opportunity is always available, we actually put the color in the countertop and in the accent tile in the shower. So this countertop from Cambria, you can see has this great teal color mixed through it with little sparkles, which look like little diamonds mixed in. And then it's got this black, and not to be too matchy here, but our hardware actually matches that color. So it turned out to be a very good match. So it's got a kind of vintage feel to it. Look at the shape here. It's got a little bit of a 1950s, 60s flavor. These details make it feel a little bit vintage. And then our handles here, our cup pulls, add to that. So these are the kind of features you look for when you want to create that idea of a crafted, maybe vintage, historic space, however you want to describe it. We did add our medicine cabinets to the wall. We were not able to embed them in the wall because there's structure in the wall basically holding up the dormer that the bathroom is situated in within the house. But you can order these to be embedded or not. So because ours are not, you can see we have glass or mirror on the side. So it makes them feel a little bit more floaty. And I'll just show you here. This is very nice. You get just a really nice clean medicine cabinet inside. It's really a great investment because ultimately people have lots of little things in a bathroom, not lots of big things. So this is a good place to keep it. Okay, a couple things to notice here. The floor tile is very simple. We're back to our porcelain tile, and it's a large scale porcelain. It is not shiny, and our grout blends in, so it feels very seamless. That is very intentional so that the walls stand out, and so our accent wall here in the shower stands out. Now, I don't even know how much you see it. It's not in your face, but there's quite a bit of color here. If you have a look how much color is on that wall. But it's a very easy to live with color. And I think when you are on the lake and enjoying the cottage, you naturally relate to that color easily. It feels very peaceful. And riffing on that idea, you can see our artwork is also very peaceful. It's this idea of a misty morning on the lake. It's very soft and easy to live in. And that's what I think is just very comforting about this room. There is some energy from the color, from the contrast, but the elements that are completing the story tend to take us somewhere else, to the lake where we are and enjoying our time. Okay, here we are. I love this. If you have enough room and you're able to bring your pool table or any kind of games table and you're able to bring it upstairs, take it out of your lower level, bring it up where family and friends are. I think this is so helpful on the main floor, as this is a loft that overlooks the seating of the main floor, because it gets everyone in the same room. Okay, I'm going to show you the second floor principal bedroom. So gushy, comfortable, juicy bed. Why do I say that? Because notice how everything in here is rounded. The bed itself is rounded. You've got this softness that's on the bed that just makes it feel so enjoyable to spend time in. Even though you're at the lake, remember, there's times where you just want to be cozy and comfy with those slightly cool nights. Just this is such a good look and feel when you walk in here. Want to show you, we have dark sheets on the bed. It can just be your fitted and top sheet, and the rest can go back into neutrals, so that way it keeps it easier to maintain. Great built-in window bench. Could also be a little place for the little ones if they're going to take a nap or sleep. And of course, we have a beautiful view of the lake. It's just perfect. And even though this is a window that's not right to the floor, we added drapes so that we could get blackout. Just a reminder, if you want a room to be fully dark, you need to install drapery, not blinds. Blinds are a little bit harder to totally keep the light in or away from the room, whereas with a drape, I can pull it all the way across and close out the arched window above. Okay. You found my favorite bathroom. This is a special room. It's special for numerous reasons, but not the least of which, look at the ceiling detail. It's this little dormer that has been made into an ensuite for our master bedroom right here, principal bedroom. And I want to show you a few things about this room that make it really special. First of all, the wood has been maintained. It wasn't all painted out to disappear, because it adds that nice warmth or character that we see in older homes. The floor, this is a natural marble floor, and this is just such nice detail that has been added into this floor with a very nice natural white material, and then with the gray cut into it. It's just, you don't see this everywhere today. So we added this because we wanted that idea of it being vintage from another era. Our cabinetry is very, very nice, made by Estate Interiors. And you'll notice is what we call face frame. So there's a frame that wraps around the face of the drawers, so it looks more like furniture. It doesn't feel like a vanity that you bought from somewhere. It looks handmade. And of course, we have the 3 drawers, 6 drawers, a bank of 3 under each of the 2 different sinks. And then we added on a natural stone countertop. Again, natural stone is not for everyone, but it is by far the most beautiful material that you can purchase today, because it's one of a kind, and it just looks so nice when it's installed. When you travel and you see these beautiful hotels, so often the items that they have, because it really isn't attainable in any other material. Now we have this nice vintage looking tap again. And what gives it that vintage feel is that arc and then the detail. We have the cross handle and then this little flare on the bottom. Just really nice in the polished silver. This room just takes me to a hotel somewhere, as though I've traveled to the south of England or the north of France. Like, it's just got these great added in features. These lights Christine chose, I just think they're so perfect in here. And Christine and Stephanie did this great design on the backsplash. You can see how they cut out this, again, as though it's from a vintage hotel, to make it more interesting. And of course, these are like, this is real life right here. You have your canisters out and they got the real things in it, but it doesn't look weird. It looks like it's used, and that's how the room should feel. Medicine cabinets. Although we did want to sink these into the wall, we couldn't because there's structure in the wall here. So they sit forward, but we order them with the kit that comes with it that puts mirror on the side. So this gives us a place that the mirror is close. So obviously I need to do my hair. But anyway, the mirror is a little bit closer and it gives you a good place to store lots of little things. It's perfect for that. Last few things we added in here to give it, again, a little bit more character. Our artwork has really kind of a painterly feel to it. I'm going to show you the shower in a minute, but before I do, I just want to point out our Roman blind. This is a characteristic, what we call holiday stripe. So it's the kind that you find on old vintage patio umbrellas or awnings. And I love that we just added it in here to give just enough privacy because we're looking onto the driveway as people come in. But it just gives it, again, that idea of holiday, as though I'm away at a beautiful resort. And that texture, that pattern just reminds us of that. Now I want to show you the shower. Just since we're here, it was behind the door before. Let me just show you the shower. This is all white tile, and I love what Christine and Stephanie picked because it just makes it look so more interesting. It's white with this embossing texture on it, which just picks up what's on the floor and kind of ties the two together. That really soft blue. The space is like I'm away somewhere. And although it's a bathroom and maybe I shouldn't be spending a lot of time in here, this is a room that I just think is beautiful and I really do want to spend time. Now, not every cottage is going to have a great rec room. You know, when I grew up, I remember our basement, I was scared to go in it. It was scary. But this one's amazing because you got a big screen TV, very nice. And we have our big gushy sectional that you can lie on and just watch TV. And then we have our wonderful piece of art that gives us our pop of color. And of course, we have our dining/games table. We have our foosball and we have our bar. So look, you know, this is a perfect space for entertaining and where the kids can go hang out, where the adults are upstairs, or maybe it's vice versa. Maybe the adults hang out down here and the kids go to bed. Either way, you can see that the idea of keeping things light on the walls allows you to add contrast in the furniture, and then the wood is allowed to be the wood. It just lives on its own and you appreciate it for what it is because it is absolutely beautiful, and I would never want to take it out or change the color. Okay, here's the secret room. No cottage is complete without bunk beds because this is where all the kids go. We added in new little lights that are finger operated, so individual per bed, and each of the beds are actually double beds. So you could get 2 kids in each of them. They're just so fun. These are part of the original built-in. We just simply changed the color and basically the feel of them and added in a nice Roman blind. So you could darken the space if you really wanted the kids to sleep. But I think this is one of those vintage things that if you can find a room to put it in, you put it in because it just sleeps a lot of people. Think about it. You could have 8 people sleeping in here. Maybe that's just a few too many. Nevertheless, if it's a party at the cottage, you got to have the bunk beds. Here, and then the old, here, the MUSKOKA area here, and then Huntsville over here. So cool. Well, thanks for joining me today on the walk around the home tour we just did over this beautiful MUSKOKA cottage. I hope it inspired you, gave you some tips, and they're things that you can take away yourself and add to your own home, or just you simply enjoyed a beautiful space. Thanks for coming. Bye.